Welcome back. This is To Your Greatness with Dawn Mathis, and I am Dawn Mathis. We have another guest today, coming all the way from, let me see if I say this right, down under, right?
Yes, I come from the land down under.
Under, yeah. Yeah, so I have with us today Jennifer Harrington. But let me just start out with just something I wanted to say, preempting this talk, and that is that sometimes the universe or the divine, whatever you wish to call it, speaks to us. And sometimes it speaks to us in a way that changes our lives. Maybe it's that statement that you've heard me say on other podcasts, this or something better still. And when we're open to changes in our lives, when we open ourselves to another path, the one we're on currently, we might hear a little voice that says, not this way, not exactly this way. Or we might hear something like, that was then, this is now. That was then, this is now. And when we listen to that voice, amazing things can happen. And I want you to listen to the amazing story, the amazing journey that my guest today went through to get to where she is. I want her to talk about her history, but I want to share something that was on her website that I just love. So let me just start out by saying that Jennifer Harrington, she goes by Jen, I think, is the clinical director and founder of Menopause Natural Solutions. Yes, we're talking about the M word again, but this time we're talking about a solution that has a natural approach. So that's why we're talking about it, because we haven't really talked about this in any kind of depth. So the statement that I love from her website is this one. The hormones load the gun, but what pulls the trigger? I love that. I love that. It's so true. And there are so many factors that could be the cause of someone pulling that trigger of behavior and emotions and everything else that happens to us when we get in that place in our lives, which is why her clinic believes in testing, because we're all different. Every woman is different, unique, and the road to their optimal health is different and unique. So I'm going to let Jennifer talk a little bit about her story, and then we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this towards the middle of the podcast. So Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Dawn. My story. Do you want the long version or the short version?
Well, let's see. How about medium?
Okay,
Yeah, why don't you talk about how you even got started in your 20s, what was going on
sure.
with you, and if you could describe that disease to some of us who may not have all the medical background
Mm,
that you have.
sure. So I actually started off in my 20s working in television. I wasn't in this industry. And I discovered I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, which means that I have a lot of cysts on my ovaries, that my reproductive system doesn't work very well. And it would cause me stabbing pain that would drop me to the ground.
Mm.
So something had to be done. And I went to see my GP, and the GP went, right, we're going to put you on the oral contraceptive pill. We're going to help sort out your pain. And it did that, but it changed my personality. It changed who I was and ended my relationship at the time. And I was just like, I don't like this person I'm becoming. There has to be another way. So I stopped taking the oral contraceptive pill and went and saw a naturopath. And in that experience, I found that I could get rid of my pain and remain the person that I am, or if anything, increase my health, my happiness, my
Mm.
overall vitality. And this was such a wonderful experience that I actually left my career in TV and retrained to become a naturopath so that I could help women going through a similar situation. So
Mm.
my career has primarily been hormonal health and reproductive conditions. But as I've matured, so has my practice. So I have moved from being at the earlier end of our reproductive life to being at the other end, the end of our reproductive life, because
Mm.
that is where I am.
And weren't you finding that you were more in demand for women going through menopause and needing some help and some solutions, and not
Yeah.
finding a path to that was open to them, or they felt that way?
Yes. So in 2010, I opened a bricks and mortar. Sorry, it was in 2000, not 2010. I opened a bricks and mortar clinic and advertised as a hormone specialist.
Mm.
And yes, I was getting more perimenopause, menopausal women through the clinic than fertility, which is what I was hoping to get. But I just found the transformation and the changes these women were getting, that was also part of my, well, now that I'm this age and I really like working with that demographic, it just was an obvious change.
Wow.
And it's all still hormones at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. So, um, where where did you get your training from in
Yep.
in naturopathic medicine?
So the University of New England, which is here in Australia.
Really?
Yes.
Sounds like it would be in the U.S. of A.
Well, we're both British colonies, so
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's true. Um, so tell us a little bit about this resort that you were at one time. How do you say that? Shiva Psalm?
yeah, Chivasom. Yeah, so that was in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
That was it was both as a practitioner in my early stages of being a practitioner, being there was phenomenal because it was how I always thought it should be. So I'm working next to cardiologists, Western doctors, monks, um,
Mm.
any sort of modality you can imagine, and we would all have morning meetings. So we'd come in, who's coming in today? What can we do for them? What can we offer them? So different people putting up their hands. And it made me realize I can't be everything for everyone. And I don't want to be everything for everyone. I
Mm.
want to refer. So it was a really good place to start to see, oh, actually, the physiotherapist wants to see them because there's a thing called pelvic physiotherapy, which I didn't realize. And
Mm.
that can really help with all sorts of uterine conditions. So, right now, I will refer to them, and acupuncture can be helpful. Now I can refer to them. And it was just a really good place to open up my mind to what is possible.
Mm.
Unfortunately, when I came back to Australia, it was a very different situation in that we don't tend to get a lot of cross referral, but I still do. And I'm very happy to work with practitioners. Actually, I love it when I work with practitioners that say if I've referred someone, I've written them a letter and they respond back because ultimately it's about what's going to get the best results for the woman sitting in front of me.
Right.
And it might be me, it might not be me. It might be, right, you need to go and see this person or that person, or, maybe you do need to work with me for a while and then go see someone else. But yeah, it was just such a phenomenal experience in that way.
So it sounds to me like a medical mastermind, or a true multidisciplinary approach to helping a client.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you now seeing a little bit more reciprocity with referrals?
No.
Not yet. Well, well, well. You should, and I think you will. I think
With
sometimes.
patients, yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
With
Yeah.
patients, yes. With practitioners, no.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, that's too bad.
Oh, look,
But
I'm open to it. Maybe there's a
yeah.
practitioner listening who would like to do some work with me, and I'd be very happy to get to know them and see how we can help each other.
Well, you're kind of talking to one here, and I truly believe in mutual referrals, because you're absolutely right. We cannot be all things to all people. And at the end of the day, it's about helping that person. And if it means they need to go see someone else, so be it. I mean, there's such a thing out there called karma. I believe in it. And I really believe that if you do right by someone, that it does come back to you. Um,
Yep.
so you mentioned on your website something about tests.
Hmm.
So what are these tests that you're talking about, and where would one of us go to get them?
Okay. So, first of all, it's not possible for everyone to do all the tests. We don't have enough blood, saliva, hair, whatever the sample is. It's about looking at the woman sitting in front of me and trying to determine what her most likely factors are.
Hmm.
And as something you mentioned earlier on, was about the gun, how the hormones um, load the gun and
Mm-hmm.
something else pulls the trigger. So I'm looking for that something else. Is it her diet? Is it her stress levels? Is it her digestive health and the microbiome? Is it there's so many different factors. So with the
Right.
testing, I go through and go, what is it most likely to be? Or what do I need to rule out? So
Hmm.
we might start with some general blood tests, which they can get done through their insurance, through their local doctor. And that might be things like looking at blood sugar levels, looking
Hmm.
at liver enzymes, maybe looking at vitamin D, vitamin B12, some general health tests. And then I might go, you've got a history of a lot of digestive problems. In the digestive system, we have the microbiome, which is a collection of all of our good and bad bugs. And in there, there's also a subsection called the estrobolome. And this is what regulates your estrogen levels. Maybe I think there might be something going on with your digestion that is recycling your estrogen instead of excreting it. Maybe we need to do a stool test to have a look at what's going on with the health of your digestive system and if that is contributing towards symptoms.
Hmm.
Um, we may also consider a toxic metal test. There's a hair test that looks at your levels of stored contaminants.
Hmm.
And when we're looking at menopause, postmenopause, we start looking at bone loss. And what a lot of women don't realize is that bones are a storage site for a lot of our toxic metals. And lead is a particularly high one. And we're all lead generations. We grew up with lead in our petrol, lead in our paint. It is possible that we've got some stored lead. And now that we're starting to see a reduction in bone density, could we be re-releasing toxins like lead back into the blood supply? And could that be contributing towards the symptoms that we're experiencing at the moment?
Wow.
So there's so many different
There's
things. I'm
so
sorry there's not one answer.
no. Well, well, if there were just one thing, one solution, that I would be I would say, well, that sounds a little dubious because we're not all the same, and you said it yourself, we're not. Um, so, so the tests, like the lead tests, are those tests that people can get from their PCP, their
No,
primary care physician?
no. You'd
Okay,
need to see some sort of functional doctor or naturopath.
functional med. Okay,
Possibly some chiropractors do.
yeah.
It's more functional testing,
Mm-hmm.
but I do start with the standard blood test just to
Sure.
have a look what you can get done
Yeah.
without it costing you. Because some of these tests can get pricey, which is also why I don't do everything. I try to nail
Right.
it down. What is the most likely scenario, and then move forward with testing.
So you start with maybe a questionnaire per se.
Yeah, so I have an intake form which is quite detailed that I get
Yeah.
women to send me before we have our consultation. And I also get them to send in any test results that they may have already completed.
Okay.
And I normally spend up to an hour going through all of this before I even sit down in front of
Mm.
the woman. And then we'll spend an hour in consultation discussing everything that they sent in because I want to know what their treatment goals are. I might look at everything and go, oh, all right, digestion, digestion, digestion. They might come in and say, no, actually, I'm not worried about my digestion. I'm worried about something else.
Yeah.
So it's finding out what their goals are. I
Mm-hmm.
will also let them know sometimes if there's something that I think they've got their priorities the wrong way around. There's a core naturopathic belief that we start from the inside and move out.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's complaining about a skin problem and they've got a digestive problem, I might help them reframe their focus to say we've got to start with the gut and hopefully that will clear the skin. If not, we'll come back and
Yeah.
work on the skin directly. Um, yeah, but what I absolutely love about my work is that it's never boring. No two women are the same. We all
Mm.
come in with different triggers and with different symptoms. Like when we look at it, 20% of the population will move through with no symptoms at all during menopause, and other 20% will have horrendous symptoms. Like if it's possible to go through without, why are you having the symptoms? What is
Mm.
it that's specific about you? And it's a digging. I put my investigator hat on and dig deep to try and find out what the individual factors are. And not only does this transform your menopausal transition, it sets you up for a healthy life and to age well. So for me, I really believe in health span. A lot of people talk about lifespan, but I don't want to
Mm.
be around for an extra 20 years if I'm not well. I
Right.
want health span. I want to be able to be running around with my great great grandkids if that's what's going on, and to still live an active life. So whatever you can do now, menopause is often called the tipping point. How
Mm.
we handle menopause can be what sets us up for health or what doesn't set us up for health moving forward. And I would prefer to have lots of healthy women aging with me
Yeah, for sure.
rather than the other option.
So, so would you say that people that are perimenopausal or in menopause, that the symptoms they're having, say, um, belly fat, um, putting on weight when they just look at food, I don't know if anybody else has that issue. Um, uh, are all those things, do we attribute all those things to menopause or just part of aging, or it doesn't have to be part of either, would you say?
I reckon it's a combination of both.
Combination of both, and it doesn't have to be,
Yeah,
right? Is that what I hear you
correct.
saying? Okay.
Yes.
So tell us about what you will be talking about um, in this, because I know you're going to be talking about something in this big endeavor, right?
Yes. So we have a week set aside every year in Australia to celebrate natural medicine, and many different practitioners. So I'm a naturopath and I'll be talking about minerals for menopause, but there'll be also other practitioners talking about different things. And it's a week to really share our knowledge and to promote other options, because it
Mm.
astounds me the amount of women out there that still just think their doctor has all of their answers, where no one person can do everything. So we need to be looking into having a team approach to health. And I
Mm.
love that this is promoting all different modalities. And yeah, so for me, I'm talking about minerals because I really believe that mineral deficiency can rather set us up for a problematic transition, or it can set us up for a successful transition. And so minerals are things like magnesium and zinc and selenium, these kind of things. And I'm going to be talking about how they play a role in your hormonal health and food sources that we can have, and if you want to consider testing, if you can consider any tests. But I'm also going to be looking at the research, because a lot of the research on natural options for menopause have been done on cancer survivors.
Mm.
So there is a fair bit of research looking at, in particular, breast cancer survivors and different minerals. And magnesium is one of the ones that you've seen mixed results in the trials. And I can explain why there is mixed results, because there's different doses and there's different forms of magnesium that they've used in the trials. Um, so hopefully women walk away with a lot of information and a lot of ideas. They can change their diet on their own if they like, or if they want some help, they can always reach out to me. I primarily do one-on-one consultations, but occasionally I do some educational events. And I think Natural
Wonderful.
Medicine Week is a good one. It's on my calendar annually.
Wonderful. Well, so how do we reach you? What's the best way to reach you, Jen? And then I'm going to ask you for your website, please. And then
Mhm.
will you send a link in for the minerals for menopause so that we have it for our show notes for our listeners.
I certainly will. So my website is menopausenaturalsolutions.com. Like Dawn, I also have a podcast, which is the same name, Menopause Natural Solutions. Same name for social media as well. So if you like Facebook or Instagram, you'll find me there. Um, and Natural Medicine Week, I think it's just naturalmedicineweek.com.au, but I will send you the link, Dawn, so we can make sure it's correct.
Wonderful. That sounds great. Well, I for one feel a little bit better about this because I know going to my doctor, I'm due for my whatever you call it, the yearly exam, and I always feel like like there's there's not there's there's only so much you can get in 20 minutes with
Yeah,
your doctor, and
yeah.
oh, let's repeat that test and this one, and then they're on to the next person. And I just feel like there's more for us, and it's up to us. This is my opinion. It's up to us to take care of us. And, it starts maybe with a PCP, but there's so much more out there. And I am just thrilled that you took the time to spend with us just to say that, yes, there is more. There's more we can do for ourselves.
There certainly is. And it all depends where you're up to. You might just want to listen to a couple of podcast episodes or have a look at the website. I think there's over 150 blog posts on the website. So surely whatever symptom you're going through, I have a blog post on there. And if I don't, email me, because it won't just be you that's looking for it. Let me know and I will create one. But to get the best results, I really feel you need to have your hand held, somebody to direct you to what you need to be looking at, because there are so many different factors and
Mm.
it is a very individual response. So if you need a hand, I'd like to help you. Otherwise, have a look at some of the free resources and best of luck.
Wonderful. Well, Jen, thank you so much. This was very helpful, and I think it's opening our eyes a little bit to know that there's someone like you out there that has the training, that is seeing phenomenal results with women perimenopause and in menopause, and I'll probably be reaching out to you myself.
Well, I love to hear from you, Dawn.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you, Jennifer, so much for sharing your time with us. And for those of you listening, I encourage you to reach out to Jen. You've got her information. We'll also have it on the show notes for you. We've got you. So take care of yourselves. Take care of your health. It's our responsibility to do that, not just up to a physician who has 20 minutes to do whatever they can do in 20 minutes. So thanks for joining us, everyone. This is To Your Greatness with Dawn Mathis, and I am